This is how I killed my best friend because she was now married to a rich South African man and I did not want their marriage to continue. How are you, Brother Nashi? Please post my story as hidden identity. I am a woman that is aged 41 years old. I am staying here in a foreign country in South Africa. As for today, my name, you'll call me Trust. It was in the year 2008. I was still at a university and I was doing my own degree. And for me to come to university, it was not easy at that age. The money that I got, it was the money that I was getting from this other blesser, but my father was also a tobacco farmer. So each and every time when he would sell his produce, he would pay for whatever that he could. But my blesser, he was the one that said that he wanted someone with a degree because he was a member of parliament. I cannot mention his name even though he has since passed away. I just want to respect his memory. This is how I met this man, and usually this is what happens to the girls that are very beautiful, that stay in those communities whereby there is too much poverty. When those politicians come to campaign in your villages, most of those guys, they are always looking for these young women that they can sleep with. That is exactly what happened at that time. So I started to date that rich politician, and he brought me from the villages, and he started to rent for me in a neighborhood that is called Mount Pleasant. Those that know it, it is close to the university. So I was staying there because it was close to campus. So this man, he would provide for me for each and everything. There were times when my dad would bring the money to me, and then I'll say, no, Dad, it is fine. He would ask me, how was I surviving? But I would lie to him that I had gotten a peace job as someone who was on internship under the ministry's office where that MP was working, but it was just a lie. To tell you the truth, I was just doing these blessed things. I was sleeping with the bodyguards so that they can give me money. So because I was dating a lot of men and I started to go into the street, whenever the MP would not give me the money like the way that I wanted, I would go to the street and I would sell my body. And me being very beautiful, men will chase after me. I would go to the nightclubs. I would always be at the VIP clubs and I was selling my body. So as I was going around from one club to another, I then met this other body. She was very beautiful as well, light-skinned. She had a beautiful body. She had nice curves. I met him when we had gone to this other party. So I had gotten drunk. I was really drunk. And when I was at that party, I was sleeping with any man, any guy that just wanted, will take advantage of me, would take me to the bathroom and sleep with me, no condoms, nothing. And I was even enjoying it because I was really drunk. So this girl, amongst the other women that were at that party, she felt sorry for me and she said, no, this is wrong. Men are not supposed to take advantage of her like this. She then came and then she told me that I was drunk, even though I told her that I was not drunk. I said that these men that were sleeping with me, they were giving me money. In my mind, these men, they were giving me money, but they were not giving me a single cent. They were just taking advantage of me. So she said, let us go to my place, because she was afraid that in my situation, there was no way that I was going to make it back to the place where I was staying. I went with him to her house and I saw that she was also having a boyfriend that was wealthy, who was outside of the country, who would only visit him here and there. That is why she liked to go to parties, to different parties. I later discovered that I had fallen pregnant. This woman was the one that assisted me to remove that pregnancy, because I did not even know who was the father who had impregnated me, because I had slept with many men on a single night. So this girl went with me to this other sangoma, and I was then given some herbs. I drank those herbs, and then the pregnancy was removed. Fast forward, I then got married. I got married to another guy. He used to be rich, this guy, and that is how I separated with my friend Brenda. She then came and she started to stay and work in South Africa because I was taken to Bulawayo by my rich bless. I got married and I was a Shona Makoti amongst the Ndebele people. So the mistake that I did was that I did not throw away my behavior. I started to sleep with the cousin brothers, with people in the family, and my husband caught me and they chased me away. I was now stuck. So Brenda was already in South Africa. I only heard that she was married in South Africa through friends. When you have friends that you have been friends with, maybe in high school, in university, never think that all those people that you used to know, when they come back in your life, they come with good intentions. Brother Nashi, I came to South Africa with evil intentions. I knew that she was married to a South African guy, and I had been told that she now had a citizenship because she had a child with that South African. So I knew that since my life was not working out for me in Zim, to come to South Africa, I always wanted to come, but I did not have proper papers. I did not want to be like one of those women that stay like in an illegal settlement. No, I wanted to stay in the estates to drive a nice car. And what made me to see that this man, he had money. They had like a birthday where I saw the pictures on Facebook. They were standing in front of a Porsche. The friends of her husband, he had bought a Porsche, that car, for her husband. And I said, if he has friends that can raise money to buy a Porsche for her husband, it means that the husband is filthy rich. I came to South Africa to stay in her house with wickedness that was inside of my heart. To confess, it is a good thing. What I will do, Brother Nashi, I would go on Facebook. The phone that I was using, it did not even have screenshot. Those were the old phones that we used back in those days. When I would look at the pictures of her husband sleeping in bed, I would end up helping myself, sexually touching myself, just imagining that South African man on top of me. She then convinced me to come to South Africa. She was like, just come for a holiday. My husband is very jealous. He does not want me to return back to Zim. Please come so that I can see you. I miss home. I miss speaking my own language. So Brenda then booked a bus for me. By then I did not even have a passport. That bus then took me to South Africa. It was in December. I was in South Africa. The moment that they collected me from the bus station, Brother Nashi, when I entered into the vehicle, on that day, they were driving a G-Wagon. The interior of that car, it was white leather with no stains, with nothing. The smell of that car, it was smelling so nice. When I was looking at her husband, the hands, as you know that in our culture, we judge the size of the manhood of a man with his fingers or the length of his feet. When I looked at his fingers, they were thick, and I was like, Brenda is enjoying this thick sausage of his. So I could not take my eyes off his hands as he was driving. As he was driving, romancing the steering wheel, I imagined him playing with me in the bedroom. We arrived at her house. We were greeted by these funny dogs. Rich people, they don't keep these vicious dogs. They keep these funny dogs, and they were even wearing dresses. I was like, Brenda, it is you, man. You have made it in life. We entered the house. We sat down. We talked a lot, but I was tired. I went to the bedroom, which said that it was a guest bedroom. It seemed as if I had my own house, because inside of that guest bedroom, there was a little area where there was a fridge. It was like a whole kitchen stuff that was there. There was a big tub. I soaked myself in that tub and I went to bed. I was just enjoying the soft life. I was even eating grapes that Brenda had brought for me. The next day, she then told me that she was doing hairdressing, but she had girls that were working for her, and she also had a massage parlor. And she told me that sometimes she goes out with her friends. She was having friends that were rich South African women. Even when those women would come to visit Brenda, you could feel it that these women, they are not of the same class as I am. I'll just excuse myself, because even my skin, and when I would look at their smooth skins, it will just tell you to say goodbye and to pretend that you are sleeping so that they can speak about whatever that they were talking about. I started to get so obsessed about Brenda and her husband. Late at night, I would wake up, I would walk silently, and then I would go and stand close to her door and listen to those guys as they were making love. If it happened that I would hear them making love, I would go crazy. I would return back to the room, and then I'll start to please myself until I was done. I ended up going to this other shop where I bought some toys which I would use to vibrate and to please myself, screaming out the name of her husband. Obviously, I would not scream out loud. When you stay with such a woman under your roof, it's like you have invited a dangerous snake inside of your house. That woman will do whatever that she can so as to destroy you and to destroy your marriage. Then I went back to Zim, because the problem that I was now facing, Brenda, she had these South African friends. They would go out and they would go to places where when you do not have any form of identification, you could not enter. So I would always get left behind. She then encouraged me to return back home, and she gave me money to apply for a passport. One thing is that Brenda was paying me. Every month she would pay me. She said, "You are like a sister to me. Of course, I want you to help me to clean up this place. There is no need for me to have a maid. When we are two sisters, we are staying here. We can manage our house." Her house, she would say that it is our house. Her children, she said that it was our children. We can't have a maid when we are two women in this house. We help each other. When I'm too busy with some meetings, you can look after the baby. Then you can cook. When I can cook, I will cook. So I did not disrespect her. That is why she started to like me. I would kneel down in front of him, in front of her husband. This I did because according to our culture, when you are married, you are supposed to kneel down for your husband. But Brenda would not do such a thing. She never knelt in front of her husband. So her husband then started to notice whenever Brenda was not around, she would be like, "Why do you kneel in front of me? I am not a king." Then I would say, in our Shona culture, your husband is like your king. Don't you know that your husband is like a king to you? So you have to kneel down in front of your husband when you are giving him food, when you are talking to him as well. Even in an argument, you are not supposed to argue with your husband whilst you are standing. Rather, you sit down and you wait for your husband to speak. You do not say anything whilst he is angry, and then you just please him in the bedroom. He was someone who loved to talk about bedroom stuff. He told me that he was hungry in the bedroom because as for Brenda, she was someone that did not like sex that much. And I said, she does not like sex. But when we were still in university, she would have threesomes. I said this because I knew that it was going to break her husband's heart. I said it intentionally. He was like, "She used to do what?" And I said that she used to sleep with two boys in the same room. She was a monster in the bedroom. They used to call her bedroom bully. Don't you know that? So her husband, she was so stressed about it. And she said, "Oh, I did not know that she had a dark past." And then she said, "What about you? And I said, as for me, when I had my virginity broken, it was because I was raped. I had the intentions to keep my virginity until I would have gotten married. We spoke. In the meantime, Brenda did not know that this was what I was doing to her husband. I was not wearing any seductive clothes, never. I was always looking decent in front of him, avoiding eye contact, always pretending to be shy to speak with him. And I would say things that would hurt him. Like, if a woman does not want to sleep with you, maybe her mileage is too high. That is why she does not want to sleep with you, because she does not have any feelings at all. Fast forward, Brenda gave me money, and then I returned back home and I managed to get my passport. When we came back, I could go with her to places. When we would go out, I would come back and gossip with her husband that, we went to this club, Brenda was having her ass being touched by such and such a man. It will be a lie, but I'll be like, please do not tell her. We became good friends. I would speak with my mom because by then I had bought my mom a phone. I lied to my mom that Brenda was trying to take my boyfriend. My mom then said, okay, there is no problem. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to send a sweeping broom. It was like one of those African sweeping broom that is made out of grass. And then she told me what I was supposed to do. And whenever Brenda would have finished using that broom, then I had to take it and go with it to my room. This ritual that I would do, it used to be painful. Soon after Brenda would have maybe left it outside after sweeping, I would go and take it and pretend that I want to sweep my bedroom. I would lock myself, undress, and take a red cloth that my mom had sent for me and tie it around my waist area, and I'll be totally naked. Then I would sleep on the bed. When I would be on the bed, I would try to insert as much grass as I could into my private part. Once I was done, then I would speak to the broom and I would say that this private part of mine, once Brenda's husband tastes it, I want him to divorce Brenda and to become mine. Eventually it happened. One day, Brenda's husband opened the bathroom and I was bathing. He just stood there like a possessed man looking at my body. I then asked him if he wanted me and he said yes, of course, and I knew that I had won him. I then locked him in my bedroom and I went and I took that broom. If someone would have caught me, Brother Nash, they would have said, here is a witch. I did this in broad daylight. I left Brenda's husband locked in my bedroom, ran outside, and I collected that sweeping broom, and then I went at the back of the house. The dogs, they even thought that I was playing. I removed all of the clothes and wrapped that red cloth. Brenda had gone to the mall for grocery shopping. Then I slept on the lawn. I knew that there was no one else in the yard. I was only afraid of the people that were staying next door because they had a mansion which was a double story. I said, let me risk it all. I slept on the lawn, totally naked, my legs in the air. Then I took that broom and I started to insert the tip of that broom into my private part. It used to be painful because this will be sharp grass entering into your private part. Then after that ritual, I ran back indoors holding that sweeping broom, and he was like, where were you? And I said, no, I just wanted to check. I'm scared that we're going to get caught. He said, no ways. She is going to call me because I have asked her to buy something at game. So then I said, I'm really scared. And as I was talking to him, I dropped the sweeping broom down and then I pushed it under the bed because I was supposed to sleep with him for the first time with that broom underneath the bed that we'll be sleeping on top of. The moment that he entered me, he removed his ring and he said, I feel guilty doing this. And I said, why? He was removing his wedding ring and he said, I feel guilty that I'm sleeping with you whilst I am wearing this wedding ring of a woman that I no longer trust and love. I love you. And we would kiss, we made love. By the time that Brenda came back, the deal was already sealed. Me and Brenda's husband, we started to plan, but he did not know about the witchcraft that I was doing. Then when I returned back home, I bought a coffin, a real life coffin, climbed up the mountain with my mom and the sangoma. I never thought in my life that I would dig a grave. We dug a grave from early morning until 2 in the afternoon. We had dug 2 meters going underground. And then we buried Brenda. We buried her spirit. Brenda started to get so sick and she died within 1 week. I could not even attend a funeral because I switched off my phone. I did not want people to contact me because I was not supposed to see her body. And then I went to South Africa. Brenda's husband was angry at me, saying I missed you. When he came to pick me up from Park Station, he was mad at me. He kissed me so hard in front of people and said, "Why did you switch off your phone?" And then we went home. After the death certificate was out, he said, it is time that we go and we get a marriage certificate. And that is how I got married to a South African man. I have just come here because I want other women to know. I am not trying to brag, but I want other women to know that the person that will come and destroy your marriage, it is not someone that will come from the outside. It is someone that you know very well. Those are the people that will have the power to bewitch you, to do evil things to you. Because if I am your friend, once I sleep with your husband, I can even kill you, because I know that what I would have done if you find out about it, it is the end of our relationship. So it will be total war. It's either I lose you, I lose your husband, or I lose my dignity. So it is better that I just win your husband. And as for you, it is better that you die, because I do not want to live knowing that you are still out there thinking about the way that we used to be friends when we were at university, and now I'm sleeping with your husband. So I want other women to know that if your marriage is going to end up in a divorce, eventually, if you are still lucky, you will be alive, you will find out that the person that destroyed you was that woman that used to allow inside of your home. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to us by one of our dear sister. What a wicked heart you have there, dear sister. But let us speak with him in the comment section. Strange things indeed they do happen in this world.